I was going to say, I have a whole list of issues if we want to talk about it. Yeah. All right, let's call this meeting to order. I would like to have a hard stop at 9 if possible, or before. So Thursday, South Kingstown School Building Committee, Thursday, May 7th, 8 a.m. start. We will do the roll call. Brian Sylvia. Here. Dave Pazzetti.
Here.
Michael Pedraza.
Here.
Kate Mastani, I'm here. Luke Murray.
Here.
Terry Lynch.
Here.
And Jim Manny.
Here.
All right, we have Left Field and Gilbane in the room. Far as public correspondence goes, I don't think we have anything new that I'm aware of. We have the abutters communication that we've been navigating, and we've really I think we have a nice new process when it comes to communicating with the abutters. I've gotten positive feedback from a couple of them, so I think we're good in that case, unless you have anything you want to add.
No, I'll just, echo what you're saying. We had to fine tune our process. We've been working with the abutters to adjust some of the ways that we've done work to try and limit the amount of disruption to the abutters. And to your point, I think we've increased the amount of email communication that's going out. We've tried to kind of narrow down some of our email communications as it relates to direct abutters. But I think those improvements have been successful.
Agreed. So we'll just move on to new business, discussion, action. Do we have any recommendations going in front of the change order task force?
We do not at this time. The next round that we'll be looking at is pricing for some of the changes that were identified during the FF&E meetings. Gilbane's still working on pricing those up. So once we get that, we'll be able to convene a meeting, but at this time we don't have the document to review yet.
Awesome. All right, so let's move on to discussion update and just a new South Kingstown High School project update.
All right, so here's how we're tracking along our red bar for the South Kingstown High School. We're inching closer to the center portion there. Mark, do you want to come up and share the 4-week look ahead? And then we've got some more photos and drone photos, which are even more exciting.
Sure. All right, so here's our 4-week look ahead. The first couple items are the steel work. Steel's progressing, nearing completion. We've got about another week, maybe week and a half of detailing work, just minor stuff, and then we'll be fully completed with the steel work, which is a milestone for us. The next 3 or 4 or 5 are the concrete pours. So we had one scheduled for yesterday, but we got rained out, so it's moved till tomorrow. So the next pour will be tomorrow. It's expected to be a late one, just due to all of the pipes and various things that are going to be in the way of it when it comes to finishing it. So we will be pouring that tomorrow, and that'll complete half of the building, and then that'll leave us with the east half left to pour. So what I've done is just shown estimated at this point expected pour dates for the east part of the building, and basically what we're trying to accomplish is to be done in May. So if everybody's looking for an end date of concrete, we're looking at the end of May, maybe the first week of June, depending on what the weather does to us. Some other things that are going on, we're in anticipation of pouring the eastern half of the concrete. We're doing all the underground plumbing and underground electrical in the east. That's just about completed. We have radon systems are going on. Again, the whole west is done. The radon systems are going in on the east. Carpenters are on building A, the west side. So if you go by it, you'll see everything is framed up, and they've actually started installing the sheathing So that'll be an ongoing process from now until whenever. So that'll remain on there for a while. Couple milestones. We have the roofers on board today. They've mobilized. They're loading the academic tower roof and the middle section as well with materials. So roofers are going to start next Monday actually install. So that's a good sign for us as well, getting enclosed and getting weather tight. And spray fireproofing is ongoing ahead of the framers. So we're just about completed with the exterior of Building A, and we're into the center section, areas B and E. We're just doing the exterior now, just so we can keep the framers moving, and then on weather days like today, and once the exterior is done, we'll move inside and spray proof the interior. And last but not least, we're hoping to get the elevator subcontractor in, if not next week, the week after, and get the elevator shaft built, and then he'll stay on and start doing the gymnasium block work as well. So a lot of things happening, 60, 70 guys on site now, maybe something like that, so it's pretty busy. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Mark? I just want to thank you and your whole team for, these past few weeks, we have been navigating like the abutters and all these different changes and what have you. And it's not always been easy to deal with, but I just thank you for working with us and working with them and making it a little bit more palatable for the folks that immediately abut the property.
We're doing our best. I mean, it's a fluid process, right?
Yep.
The site now, especially as you can see with all the new contractors coming on, it's constantly changing. So we've just got to learn to try to change with it. There's going to be some hiccups, I'm not going to lie to you, but we'll get through it, we'll deal with it, and move on.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So that brings us actually to discussion action, our butters meeting agenda. Review any presentation items for Saturday, May 23rd at 10 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right, we just have some pictures.
Never mind.
Some pretty pictures to
Pause.
look
We'll go back. Pretty pictures.
at. Pretty pictures.
I love the drone photos.
I forgot about the pretty pictures. Yeah, we just had a drone fly through done now that we're going to get up onto the website, which was for the beam raising. So that's a pretty cool one. So that'll be handed over and we'll go up pretty soon. What do we got to hit here? There we go. Okay. Yep, so as I mentioned in the 4-week look ahead, there is the exterior wall framing going up in the academic tower. And the sheathing had just started, so we've got one face of the building in the academic tower sheathed. The next picture is that next area of concrete pour, so you can see all of those conduits and whatnot sticking up. So it's a lot of handwork and a lot of, instead of machine work, so it takes a little while to finish off those. So that's why I think we're expecting a later pour tomorrow night. Another picture in front of you is just some completed floors. So on the bottom, those are the first 2 floor pours, and then in the background is that dirt area that we had just looked at. It also gives you a view of the 3rd level and the 2nd level that have been poured. Steel detailing is that picture on the right, just the guys doing some welding and minor clips and whatnot. So that hopefully will be wrapping up soon. And that's it. All right.
So, couple things. I just want to bring to light. I've had some feedback about how big the building seems. It is a big building, but I want to kind of just express it so that we can all have the talking points are proper. We currently it will seem bigger because we have 3 big buildings now stacked upon each other. Right? So when you walk up, it's super overwhelming, especially if you walk up to the cafeteria entrance of the old building and you're looking up at this. Now it's real, and once it starts to get enclosed, it feels huge. Yeah. But also, the other building is also huge and clearly much bigger, but it doesn't feel as big because it's built into the side of the hill. And so we are having 3 stories up from the hill instead of being built into the hill. I have had questions about the size of the building and has it expanded? Is it bigger than you projected? I've made it clear to these folks that there's been no changes, but that it just feels bigger because they're all, so I have 2 questions about that is, when it comes to taking down the old building, but more so when it comes to the parking at the new building for students and faculty, because the old building will still be up when we move into the new building.
Yeah.
So I'm just, and that doesn't have to be answered today, but I'm just curious as to what that will look like during that period of time before the new parking lot is installed and when there's two huge buildings sitting next to each other.
So yeah, it's going to be tight at that turnover period. So when everybody first moves into the new school and the old school is still there, we're going to need all of that parking area to take down the old school. So there's going to be a little bit of parking in the back that'll be new. You'll have your teacher parking as currently designed, fully operational, and the parking that's in the front along school will be fully operational. But until such time as we get that building down, the old building down, and that taken over, we can finish the parking lots that are truly the full parking area in the back. But until the building comes down, right now it's in the way. So it's going to be a little tight in the beginning, but
I think we should have like a nice plan of what to be doing in that period of time between August and December, really.
We had previously discussed, we had started this conversation, I don't know, six plus months ago regarding, what it looks like for student parking in particular during that kind of shoulder time. I can go back and look at my notes off the top of my head. That plan is not coming to me immediately, but I know that it was really student parking that we were discussing being flexible with.
Yeah, I think really the question comes down to is how many spots are we going to have during that time? I think that knowing what that number is, then once we know what that number is, then we can kind of come up with a plan.
Yeah, so I think it's time to revisit the conversation. We can identify exactly how many spots will be available. It's going to be kind of that side faculty lot that we originally identified. That's right now, for anybody that's been on or near site, it's where the contractor parking is currently. That will be open and available on the first day of school. It's really the new student parking lot that sits kind of where the building is being demolished, plus where the student parking lot lives currently, that it's going to be offline.
Yeah, I think it's just how many will we have for the start of school that year, and and then when do we anticipate having whatever the full number is? So I think we've talked about there's enough space eventually. So I think the whole plan needs to be, all right, when we start the school year, we're going to have this many spots by December or whatever it happens to be, picking an arbitrary month there, but we will have this many spots. So yes. I think that's going to be the key piece to it. So things that we should have the plan, but things we can really start rolling out in the spring next year to say like when you come back in the fall, this is what you can anticipate.
Yeah.
I think it's important because we have so much time, but what will happen is when all three buildings, when this building is like where it's at right now, people are going to start to be like, what are you doing? As far as when you're looking at it, it makes the questions fire off. So I think if we can start planning now so that we know, because as we know, time goes by really fast. And it's like we're seeing with Curtis Corner, it's demo's coming soon. We need, we've known it's coming, and all of a sudden, we're here. So I just don't want us to, we have enough time to adequately plan. I just want to make sure we do it.
Just one point too, we had talked about early in the project on drainage during that transition period. We probably should go back and take a look and make sure that those plans are buttoned up and we have that transition plan, because I know that the engineers were concerned that there was going to be so much impervious on site and it could cause flooding. So I know there was provisions for that, but I just think as part of that transition, we need to kind of review that. As far as scale goes, as talking points, there's no facade on the building, which is going to make it look bigger. So all the brick, all the styling, all that will tone down the building. In addition, there's no big trees. Right now, we just cut down a lot of the big trees, and there's a bunch of big trees in the front of the existing school. So landscape makes a big difference. So I think when we communicate with the public, it's important, like, just, this is normal. Even a house looks big framed up. It'll get better. We can't reduce the size of the building, but perceptibly it will come down. So.
Thank you. Now we can move on.
All right.
So before we move on to Curtis Corner, so just to touch upon the abutters meeting agenda, review of presentation items for Saturday, May 23rd at 10 a.m. South Kingstown High School cafeteria. From my perspective, I see this as just another like really coming together with our abutters. The past couple weeks, I think, has answered a lot of questions that may have shown up at this meeting. We may have people who we haven't touched base with that show up who have questions and concerns that we can certainly address. From my perspective, what I really would like to do is kind of review, because people do not tune into this meeting, right? Some do, but the folks that we're going to be meeting with probably don't, because they're working. So what I would love to see is just, this is where we are, and to your point, Mark, the next few months are fluid, but we have a general idea of the transition that we're rolling through. And so I just want to kind of map it out for abutters and navigate their concerns now, and basically a process of, if something happens, that kind of reiterating our new process on how to communicate if something is going on. But then I do know that the abutters with the fencing that we want to, they've started to ask questions about, like, when do we have that conversation, and just kind of setting expectations. That's from my perspective. I don't know if anybody else has a thought as to what they think we should talk about with the abutters, but.
Yeah, my plan was, and I do apologize, I will be out of state for the meeting, so Chris Spiegel from my team will be handling the presentation. He's a familiar face to most of the abutters. So my intention there with the presentation is to kind of give a snapshot inside of the fence line. This is what's going on that you can't see. And then identifying kind of some of those larger milestones of, when are we, how long is facade going to take? What does that look like? How long that's going to take? And some of the next major steps that we have coming up, so people can really kind of look forward as to where the project is going on kind of more of a macro level. To Mark's point, it is very fluid. We're not going to commit to, on June 22nd, we're going to start installing windows in this section. We're going to be talking about general timeframes of activities, so they can start to project out what's going to be happening. In addition to, we are sending weekly emails now, in addition to our weekly website updates, just letting everybody know what's going on a weekly basis. So this will be more of a macro kind of broad look ahead. But I do anticipate majority of this will be Q&A. We want to give the community an opportunity to ask questions about the project, ask questions about the process, and be able to voice any concerns or frustrations that they may have, so that we can address them in real time.
Just spitballing, and this could be crazy to do, but I'm just thinking, is it possible? And I can't remember if we did it before at the previous abutters meetings, to get out to the public and ask for questions ahead of time, so that we're able to address them and be ready to address them. I mean, for some reason in my head I thought we had done that before, but maybe we didn't. But
we've
maybe
done that
maybe
in
we
previous,
did, didn't we?
especially because we had like Zoom. We even had a Zoom call, I think, at one point. But I think maybe if we can have, when Justin does, as we get closer, if when Justin does one of the weekly updates, if he can do, even if it's a form, that can be,
It's a great idea.
So yeah.
That'd be good.
Kate, May 11th, Monday, we have a council meeting, so they're going to come give their update at that meeting, correct? Okay.
Yes, yeah, we'll give a similar update, status update as to where we are now. We'll discuss the abutters meeting, the date, and the intention of the meeting. If there's anything else that you feel we need to touch on more specifically, we can do that as well, but it's going to be a general update.
Yeah, I think what you have is fine, and they'll drive the questions as they get them, because their constituents, contact them as well. And I think the question will come up about the size of the building, because that is I'm even hearing it, but just be prepared for that.
Yes.
So the meeting starts at 7:30. We'll get you up as front as we can, and we'll get you out of there as soon as we can, all right?
Thank you.
So one thing I did bring up when we had our OAC meeting was the fact that setting up a date for the fence walkthrough and everything early, like now, so we can announce it at this abutters meeting. In addition, I do have a question. Is this going to be live streamed or at least recorded? Because it would be nice, because although it's a high-level update to the abutters, there's probably questions that are going to be asked that somebody might want to at least look at, or we could put out on we could tag the recording on our weekly update. I think it might be beneficial to put out there for those who can't make it. So even if we can't live stream it, at least record it.
We can check in with Doug Snow. I know we've struggled with.
That was not a request for it. We have a screen and sound system set up for that.
Okay.
I
Do
don't
we have
think
the
you're going to,
capability of doing that in the cafeteria?
you're not going to have people on that date to, most likely to set up and run a session on that.
I mean, I'm happy to
Because it's
record it.
Memorial Day weekend, and I think,
Or, I'm happy to have
Yeah, I
somebody
think-
come and record it on their phone and upload it to
Yeah.
YouTube
I think
or
that's
the
probably
website.
your better
One thing we could
approach, yeah.
offer is we do have a mobile tablet set up with an external mic we use for our board meetings. I can talk to IT to see if we could loan that to you and to be able
Great.
to set that up. It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it will pick up if we put it over near where the mics are coming out, like near the speaker. It should work fine.
Probably better
for
than
us.
Chris's
So
iPhone.
we'll be live streaming or not?
So with that, we could-
That's always an issue.
I would say if it's a preference is to live stream it, we could.
The intention for this was never to live stream. This is an immediate abutters meeting. This isn't like a general information to the entire community. This was specific to our immediate abutters. And if the intention was to live stream, we should have had that discussion weeks ago. But that wasn't the intention, and it hasn't been for our abutters meeting. We've done it for the general community meetings, but for our abutters, because this is specific to the 20, 30 people that literally abut the property because their lives are being disrupted on a regular basis. So I'm happy to record and whatever we need to do so we can upload it so that the information is shared to out, but the intention was never to live stream.
I mean, we could also, if there are key things that come out of that meeting that we want to share with the general public, we could just add it to an agenda for one of our meetings and share it out through this. That is live stream, that is automatically recorded, so if you have the capability to record the abutters meeting, that's one thing, but in terms of getting it out to the general public, if there's concerns about, we want to answer these questions directly, we could just add it to a future SBC meeting and put that into that.
I get the streaming, but I feel strongly that it should be recorded. To document also for the other abutters who do not attend, we can give them that video. Also, when people say, oh, you didn't tell us this, and we can pull up the video, it is very helpful. So at a minimum, recording, I think, is the standard.
It's always good practice to live stream, so that full transparency to everyone. Listen, I get it. Every meeting we don't live stream, I hear it, even as minor as some of these meetings are. But they definitely should be recorded at that point, if not.
I mean, we're all in agreement about recording it. The situation with live streaming at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning is, we have to have staff to do it. We have to have it set up, cost money. And from our experience, 4 people might tune in to the live stream. One person is important. I'm not minimizing the importance of the people who are tuning in, but as long as it's recorded and posted, now we don't just have 4 people, we have unlimited people who can view it whenever they feel like it. So fully 100% agree, recording and posting immediately. No problem with that at all, especially if we can use whatever
So I
you
think
have.
the tablet's a very simple setup. It's got a tripod, a tablet, and an external mic. So it's
That'd be
2 minutes to set up. We can put it out there, record, and we'll upload it to YouTube. No issue.
yes. I think that'd be a great solution.
Does anybody else have any other thoughts? All right, so I think we can now move on to D, discussion update, Curtis Corner project updates.
All right, so as far as the athletic fields are concerned, we are prepared to submit our design development submission to Rhode Island Department of Education. There is one last programming meeting happening next Thursday, I believe. And it's really just a verification of the final design as Studio Jade completes their construction documents. We are getting ready to bid that work coming out next month. So, Luke, we should probably be in communication with Julie on kind of advance notice, getting all of that, all the bid forms pulled together for that. So that is coming up pretty soon. That's an exciting milestone we have coming up with the athletic portion. Studio Jade is also working on some options that'll be reviewed during that programming meeting for site circulation, so drive lanes, parking, some of the hardscapes that we'll have outside for circulation around the site. That has been a conversation that we have approached as we've approached this project in several different buckets between demo and abatement, field design, and then the site circulation. We are now moving into that third phase for design, verifying that layout, verifying the pricing for how we want to move forward with parking and circulation. So that is something that'll be coming up and presented. We'll be initially discussing it at this meeting, and then I have to check with Phil on the actual dates that he wants to come back to building committee to do the formal presentation for that. But I imagine by our next building committee, he'll have some concepts to share.
I'm a little unclear. You said there's going to be a meeting coming up. Who's involved in that meeting? Is that a RIDE meeting?
No, that is a meeting
That's
we
an
have
internal.
with, hold on, let me pull up all of the,
What is that?
You're on the email. It's with Phil's athletic consultant, right?
consultant. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling up the email so I can see who all was included in that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we had an internal before we get to SBC. We had that
Yes.
team
Yeah, so it's-
of players who were kind of involved in the initial.
Yep.
Are you talking about the meeting on the 21st?
Yes, so it's Chip, it's Terry Lynch, Mike Pedraza, Sam Hemingway is the civil engineer, and Hugh is the field consultant, the sports consultant. So it's just one last check-in. Luke, I apologize, it looks like you're not on this, but we
Yeah,
can absolutely.
That one and Rex and Jeff should be on that as well.
Okay.
'cause
I will
maintenance.
Yeah, I thought you were on it. Luke, sorry.
I will get them involved in that, and that is on the 21st.
Okay. All right, great.
What time is that?
2 PM, I believe.
I do apologize, because I did think, Luke, you were on it, so.
Yes, I missed that as well. All right, well, we will circulate that out. Dave, do you want to join that as well? Okay,
I'll reach out to Rex and Jeff, get them squared away on that.
okay.
All right, just to be clear,
If you could
too-
just share the drawings when you get them.
Yes, but just to be clear too, that's 2 weeks from today. So
Yes.
if we're going to have another building committee meeting in 2 weeks, that we will not be ready to talk about that at that building committee meeting, because this meeting will happen after that.
Yes, this happens, you're correct. This
So-
happens
so
the
it would have to be-
afternoon after our building committee meeting,
Right.
so.
So we would not be able to bring that information to here in 2 weeks' time.
So that would move us to June 4th for the next update for the designs of the site circulation.
I know there's let me back up. I know there's a lot going on with the discussion of the field house, or whatever we want to call it, locker
Yes.
facility or whatnot, and prepping for that, and I know some changes have been made. So I just want to make sure that while we're trying to keep pace to get it to bid, nothing gets missed.
Yes.
And everyone's kind of had their input, because I just don't want something to get left behind.
Yeah, we won't bid anything out until after everything has been reviewed with the building committee. I would not be comfortable issuing anything until then.
Can you share the drawings ahead of the meeting?
Yes,
All right, so yeah, if you could do that, because I'd just like to look at them, I can send any notes to you.
absolutely.
And my understanding, that meeting is kind of like a preliminary discussion. It's no like concrete decisions are being made. It's just kind of discussing ideas that we will then bring to this group.
Exactly. One of the things we
Yes.
talked about earlier too was, hammer throw, javelin, discus, shot put, those areas need to be discussed as where we're going to put those. So I think that's part of what this is going to be.
All right, as we're in our red bar for demolition, we have, Bill Ray has completed emptying all of the contents of the building. That was quite a lift. And they have set up their containment and abatement started officially yesterday. Fencing installation has also been completed. We did make a couple of modifications just so that we didn't block access to that backfield for parking. There's a couple large boulders that we didn't anticipate when we went through the, we laid out the site fencing on the site plan. Didn't anticipate the boulders would block access to parking, so we made some adjustments. Bill Ray was great in being able to help us cut that corner a little bit closer to the building so that cars could enter that way. But as I mentioned, abatement started yesterday, and we do have our environmental consultant who is on site doing continuous monitoring during abatement. These are just some photos of some of the containment that goes on. This process is fully compliant with the EPA and Department of Health in responsible removal of asbestos-containing materials. We do anticipate, again, demolition. We don't have a hard start date for it because it is very much dependent on air clearances and sign-off, but we are expecting in the next 3 to 4 weeks to start doing some demolition. We have discussed doing a paper mailer. We have a few abutters that are directly around Curtis Corner. We are going to do another paper mailer to them, just notifying them of the process for getting email updates. Our email updates are only as good as the people who sign up to receive them. So we will send that out into people's mailboxes via snail mail with a QR code for people to sign up for email updates, as well as giving them access to the website so that they can receive the same live updates that everybody else does. Our thought being that the direct abutters to Curtis Corner may not be as cued in as the direct abutters to the high school, but once demolition begins, they will start to notice the activity happening on site. It will be loud, and it will be there will be some vibration, and they will notice a disruption during the demolition phase of the project. So we just want to keep them up to date and give them an avenue to express any concerns or questions. Any questions on Curtis Corner?
I'll ask real quick because this is something that's come up recently from a butter on another issue. Trucking of materials. Do we have an idea of which direction they're going, where they're going through town?
I do not.
I just bring it up because
From disposal of materials?
Yes, so
Yes.
we should get that information, and we should know, the manager should know, so that we're keyed in on that. Yes.
Okay, we'll check in with Bill Ray on that. We'll get you guys an answer.
And the timing of it, a lot of people walk up and down. They're walking to and from the bus stop down at 108. So there's a lot of foot traffic on that road, plus with the bike path and everything.
Bike path is right there,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that will be important.
Okay, I'll get a trucking plan from them.
That's why we keep Luke around. He asks all the big questions, the good questions, I should say. Anybody else have any other questions on this?
Okay, let's just go over the date, time, and location for the butters meeting again. It's the 23rd at what time?
It is it's right on your agenda there.
Oh, it is.
Saturday.
I don't have my glasses.
No, it's fine. But I'll read it. Saturday, May 23rd.
Oh, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Okay, yep.
In the cafeteria
Okay,
at the high school.
thank you.
Yep.
The only other is, are we going to have, when that building starts to come down, are we having
Curtis
an abutters?
Corner.
Yes, are we having an abutters meeting or anything? Meeting
We had-
regarding, or outreach to them? I'm just, again, once that starts going and people start, if there's dust, if there's wind, so
So
in terms of
the
the
outreach
communication
is,
plan.
the communication, we have a plan, she was just kind of reviewing it just now.
Yeah.
Justin is putting together really great information on making sure we've not had a plan to have an abutters meeting. We can, I'm not adverse to that, but it just hadn't been on the radar.
Right.
Our timeline is tight now to plan one. If this committee thinks we should have one, we can certainly work to plan for one.
The last, or 2 meetings ago, I think we talked about the level of communication with abutters was different obviously the scope and the scale is different, but that had come up 2 meetings ago, and again, I wasn't sure if it had come up, okay, thank you.
Yeah, we also have a slightly different environment at Curtis Corner where we are not as concentrated with the amount of abutters that are directly abutting. Not that, every abutter is important and every disruption to their lives is important. But I think with how few there are, we can have constant and direct communication with them.
Yeah, I think it was
more easily.
Just in terms of have we communicated timelines once the machinery comes in and
Yes.
walls start coming down, then even people driving by kind of go, oh, my concern level potentially
Yes.
goes up, and if we had communicated.
So we're going to send
Yeah.
out a paper mailer
Okay.
to the abutters and just kind of outline the process. They can sign up for email updates and giving them the updates on the website as well, linking them to the website, and that way they have a direct chain of communication to be able to reach out with any questions or concerns, and they will receive those updates. The latest update that went out regarding abatement went out to the overall list. We do not have a direct communication list from Curtis Corner. Again, our email updates are only as good as those who sign up to receive them, which is why we're going to send out that mailer to the Curtis Corner abutters to say, if you want to receive direct communication, this is how you can do it.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns on Curtis Corner? We do have as our next agenda item a discussion action alumni plaque memorabilia plans. I don't know if we've made any movement on that. I am curious what has happened to some of the stuff that's been that is in Curtis Corner, because there was a lot of athletic, a lot of awards and plaques.
So those have all been taken down
Yep.
and are.
They're all in maintenance.
They're all in maintenance.
Right now.
Interim Facilities Director Adams has overseen that and has broken it up into academics and athletic awards, and so those have all been preserved.
And then we'll just want to continue with a plan of what we're going to do with it going forward, in conjunction with what's at the high school.
So I think I don't know where we sit with this, Kate, but I know we had talked about memorabilia and like having an overall plan. I just don't know if we've seen the plan, and then how is the architect going to integrate, like what is going to be integrated in the high school? This came up yesterday. I had a meeting with Sharon Henderson, who's a local community advocate, veterans advocate. She brought it up to me as like, I have serious concern about all the plaques that are in the auditorium. So I said I would bring it up, but I think it'd be good as time goes on, because if we get more people coming out asking, it'd be nice to say, yes, we have a plan, and here's what it is.
Yeah, so I know that we had started a conversation, Chip, with you about coming up with an inventory of all of the items within the building and around the building, as we talk about, memorial trees or benches, all of those items that do need to be salvaged and relocated. I know that there was a process working with the architect to identify a permanent home for all of those items. So I will check in. That has fallen off my radar recently. So I will check back in with Slam, and Chip will connect with you as far as where we are with that process.
So I think where we are with the process is we need to come up with a plan. So, we do not have space in the new building for all of the plaques. It's just, we've been clear about that from day one. We have a large wall that's going to be dedicated to preserving what needs to be preserved. I think they're into different categories. The athletic awards is a little bit different than something that's put up as a memorial. So I think we need to separate those out differently. In terms of the athletic plaques, Terry has on multiple occasions, I can let him speak to that, but basically has sort of an idea of what we could do to memorialize those.
Yeah, the design team, we really do need to work with you guys to create that list. You know, we don't want to be responsible for identifying what's important and what's not. But once we know, you know, what we need to bring into the new space or what we need to salvage, we can come up with that plan. The architect can lay it out on the interior walls. And then you know, if we need to identify with the demo contractor anything that should absolutely not be disposed of.
With the athletic stuff, I think we get to the digital world and we put it on a monitor and it just rolls, or people can come in and it's a touch screen where they can look up, okay, what happened in 1975, you know, whatever. There's a company out there that does that. I have that information, so that's, I think, something that we need to talk about as we go forward with the athletic stuff.
I think it's super important also to understand that, and I know a lot of the communities around us also have historical significance, but Kingstown, it's called Kingstown for a reason. We have a lot of historical significance in our community, and our community members know it, and we'll look to continue to celebrate it and memorialize it. So I think there's an opportunity to partner with community members and already established historical associations. But again, it has to be part of the plan, because a lot of the plaques in the high school, I can't speak to Curtis Corner, but I know at the high school, they're not just athletic awards. They're veteran acknowledgements, people who are POWs, MIA, the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of, and so that's why I wanted to make sure, like, you know, knowing it's awesome to see that building's been cleaned out, especially as you drive by as a community member. It's like, oh, sweet, it isn't a big dumpster anymore, you know. So, but then it's like, well, what happened to the stuff that was in there? And so again, it's not just about the athletic awards. No. There's more to it than that.
There's an area as you walk into the auditorium lobby, right to the right, there's some historical that we talked about where we're going to put those.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to help in any way to create that inventory list. You know, if we need to set up another meeting, Chip, with you and Terry, and to get that process started, we're happy to assist in any way we can.
And just when the architects start working on it, because architects tend to think indoors, but if plaques are bronze or there's ways to carry things outdoors, I know that we didn't include any art pieces or anything really external to the plaza. So some of that might be able to carry it into the outdoor space, and maybe it's just even, you know, a kind of a reconfiguration of existing sort of, you know, plaques or whatever, but it's just something to think about. We do have exterior space that we could integrate it.
Anybody else have thoughts?
So yes, I think we're going to need help. Because we have, one of the reasons we employ all of the companies that we're employing is because you've been through this before and we haven't. So rather than trying to do this on our own, I think we could absolutely use the help so that we do it right.
Agreed. And I believe Phil has thoughts too, that he can make sure he's part of the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. We just first and foremost need to identify which pieces are important to the community. And then from that point, the design team can take it and come up with some great solutions.
Good.
So I've just requested that I'm going to make a motion to add an update on solar for the high school to the agenda, since we just had a meeting yesterday on it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So I just wanted to put this out there, since we just had a meeting yesterday. We had a good talk with Stu Flanagan from Newport Renewables. He's actually right across the street at the old Riverbend complex. They bought that building and operate out of there. They specialize in commercial solar. So they had reached out Kate and the team reached out back. He's provided already some incentive information and some good tangible sort of things that we can use for the project, including making sure solar ready is truly solar ready. He had a couple comments on the plan. I was very clear with him that the town could not make any commitment to a vendor, right? This has to be an open process that, although they are on the MPA, that's a discussion that would have to have later. This may go to open RFP and we would get the best fit for the project. But he lives in town. They own a town business. They really want to see the project succeed, so why not tap somebody who's in the industry? So they're working with him. It was identified that there are strategies to get up to 40% reimbursement through the federal government, as well as a $75,000 RICC grant for the project. So there's going to be more information on this. My request on the town's behalf was, let's get as much information as quickly as we can to make sure that we don't lose those incentives, and at least put it in front of council, get it to the manager, to put in front of the council, so that we can make an educated decision and whether they want to choose to move forward or not. So that's where we're at.
What would be the earliest time we could get that before the council to discuss that with them?
I was requesting 2 to 3 months max to try to get the analysis turned around and get some pricing and get it done.
Okay.
Can we at least get the topic on the next meeting, just to say we're
On the 11th?
exploring it? Yeah,
Yeah, so that's what I was
for-
going to say,
Yeah.
because that is a topic of discussion by the council to me.
Yes.
So let's, maybe you can just brief that we're looking at it within a couple of months. We'll come back with a plan and possible pricing.
Yeah, I'll add it to my regular update. I don't think we need it as a separate agenda item. I can include it within
Sure.
our general
Thank you.
update. Mhm.
All right. Thank you for that. We have no public here for public comment, unless, Mark, you'd like to be a community member. You're good? All right. And so that brings us to next meeting date and time. So looks like we have, yes, May 21st, 8 o'clock here. And again, I'll say it one more time, the abutters meeting is Saturday, May 23rd, 10 a.m. at the South Kingstown High School cafeteria. Parking can still occur at the Hazard Building for folks if they are driving over. Otherwise, happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting adjourns at